Coming up on today's Airborne, the aviation community will pay tribute to Bob Hoover. Enstrom Helicopters announces a change in leadership, and UTC may be considering a Sikorsky sale. Welcome to Airborne on Aero-TV. I'm Ashley Hale. We here at AENA are pleased to inform our viewers that on February 21st, the legacy of Robert A. Bob Hoover will be recognized as the aviation community gathers to honor Bob's long, successful flying career. Hoover, known as the Gentleman Pilot, flew as a World War II combat aviator and was a prisoner of war until he escaped. He is an unparalleled test pilot, one of the airshow community's all-time performers, and the legendary Airborne starter of the National Championship Air Races in his P-51 Mustang, Old Yeller. The celebration consists of a movie premiere, a gala dinner, and a Bob Hoover Hall of Honor induction. Bob Hoover's legacy is defined by his life and his superior understanding of the flight characteristics required to fly any aircraft anytime. His ability to dissect an airplane's weaknesses and work with aerospace workers to correct them is legendary. There is no equal. Bob will share his personal stories with the audience, and there will be viewing of a documentary. Bob's story is the story of flight. All of us at AENA congratulate Bob on his receiving this well-deserved recognition. Jerry Mullins, the current president and CEO of Enstrom Helicopters, has announced his retirement to be effective today, Friday, January 31st. A veteran in the aviation industry for 40 years, Mullins says, quote, "It's been a great run. Part of me will always be connected to the helicopter industry," end quote. Mullins will continue to work as a consultant to Enstrom through 2014. Tracy Beegler will be promoted to company president and CEO effective February 1st. Beegler is currently serving as vice president, is a 26-year veteran of the aviation industry, and a 10-year employee with Enstrom. Beegler says this change in leadership will support the continued growth at Enstrom initiated by Mullins. Beegler added, quote, "We've had a change of ownership in the last 15 months, and we're currently in the process of populating our expanded facility. Look for Enstrom to take a bigger role on the global helicopter stage," end quote. We're picking up rumors that something may be changing at Sikorsky. Corporate giant United Technologies may be looking to divest itself of Sikorsky, or at least change its relationship with the helicopter maker. Rumored options include selling the company outright, spinning it off, or forging a strategic merger with another company. No potential buyer for Sikorsky was identified by the sources, according to a report appearing on Defense News Online. Declining defense spending is one of the factors that could drive a possible change in UTC's relationship with Sikorsky. Analyst Byron Callan with Capital Alpha Partners says that the rumors, and they are just that at this time, are more, quote, about the dynamics of the helicopter market, end quote, which has been good, but will face serious challenges in the next 5 years. A UTC spokesman says the company does not respond to rumors. Sikorsky also had no comment. ANN's editor-in-chief Jim Campbell has a few comments about the U.S. Sport Aviation Expo, which was held in Florida earlier this month. Jim summarized the state of the industry by saying, quote, "What's good is very good, and what's not so good is better than it used to be. Still, too many of the manufacturers and dealers continue to show a stunning lack of salesmanship, marketing, and professionalism. One wonders what activity might result if the industry learned some lessons about the art and craft of sales and marketing," end quote. He says he's pleased to say that the overall health of the industry seems to be trending positively, and that the overall quality of the industry's aircraft have been better. Jim said, quote, "There was a number of new products on display, and 1 or 2, possibly 3, could be game changers down the line," end quote. Jim also was able to fly several of the aircraft on display and was more than pleased with what he saw and flew. You'll hear more about this later. Jim said the fly-in itself is operating in a more direct, business-like manner. He added, quote, "There's no question that this year, Sebring showed that they can play with the big boys," end quote. At EAA AirVenture Oshkosh 2014, the tens of thousands of attendees can share the building experience through the one-week Wonder Project. EAA's unique project is to build a Zenith CH-750 kit aircraft during the 7 days of EAA AirVenture 2014, beginning on July 28th and continuing through completion of the event's final day on August 3rd. The goal is to completely construct, inspect, and taxi test the aircraft by the end of the week-long event. The One-Week Wonder Project will allow EAA to showcase how a person can build their own airplane, the technical achievements along the way, and EAA support programs for aircraft builders. AirVenture attendees will be available to add their own hands-on moments and sign the logbook as one of the builders. We'll bring you more information about this project as details are finalized. The annual report from the Department of Defense Office of Test and Evaluation indicates that the F35 STO VL variant for the U.S. Marine Corps may be delayed by software code it says is unacceptable. Defense News reports that the original testing completion date in 2015 will be moved to July of 2016. Still, analysts think that the program has reached a point that it is so close to acceptance for all three variants that it's unlikely the Pentagon would scrap the program. Partner nations have also stuck by the airplane, which helps its cause. Prime contractor Lockheed Martin said that the report also contains much positive information about the Joint Strike Fighters project and says it is, quote, confident that flight testing of the software needed for the Marine Corps will be completed this year. You're watching Airborne. More in a moment.
ADS-B will be mandatory for most aircraft by 2020 in the United States, but you can benefit from ADS-B today with the Bendix King KT-74 Mode S transponder. The KT-74 meets the global mandates for ADS-B out when attached to a suitable WAAS GPS.
Since its inception, Redbird Flight Simulations has been dedicated to developing new training technologies and processes in an ongoing effort to make aviation safer, more affordable, and more accessible. Consider Redbird's flagship flight training device, the FMX, a superior quality, full-motion, feature-rich advanced aviation training device priced with real-world flight training organizations in mind. With standard features that are anything but standard, such as wraparound visuals, a fully enclosed cockpit, quick change configurations, scenario-based training compatibility, and of course, an electric motion platform, the FMX serves up a level of realism that is simply unavailable in other training devices on the market. For more information on Redbird flight simulations, the Redbird FMX, and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com.
Welcome back. If you'd like to suggest a story for Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or our podcast, drop us an email to news-by@aero-news.net. About 80 Chinese survivors of the Asiana Airlines accident in San Francisco last year have joined a class action lawsuit against Boeing. An attorney for the class who filed the claim in a court in Illinois said the Boeing 777 had, quote, flaws in design, end quote, and that the company had not sufficiently trained the pilots flying the aircraft. This according to a report from China Youth Daily. A final determination of the cause of the accident has not been made by the NTSB. Both the airline and the pilots have said that it is possible that a speed controller malfunctioned during the flight. But the NTSB has said that its preliminary inspection of the airplane did not point to any mechanical malfunction. The parents of the Chinese teenager who was allegedly struck by an emergency vehicle and fatally injured after the accident have also sued the city of San Francisco. On today's Barnstorming, Jim brings us some of his thoughts, observations, and findings about this year's U.S. Sport Aviation Expo held in Sebring, Florida. Here's this week's Barnstorming.
Thanks, Ashley, and hi, folks. Well, with Sebring a little bit over a week in the rearview mirror, there are a couple of lessons above and beyond what we've written about so far that I really would like to impart. And it comes down to a couple of very simple things. One, the business of aviation really doesn't know how to do business. Our Dave Jewell has written about this a number of times, and so have I. But it becomes almost laughable when you see people bring these really great products, these great ideas to the market, and then don't know how to describe them, how to promote them, how to document them, and more important, how to talk to people about how you learn to fly them, or how you own them, or how you buy them, or how you support them, and so forth and so on. When you see salesmen talking to themselves instead of talking to customers, when you see a lack of documentation, and when you see a lack of enthusiasm, when you see just a lack of expertise, then you know something's wrong. Above and beyond that, there's no question that aviation needs to renew its entry level. Now, 30 years ago, we watched the ultralight revolution, warts and all, kind of stumble around and for a while do some amazing things. The concept of $10,000 to $20,000, maybe $25,000 flying machines is starting to get a little bit of a resurgence, and we could not be happier. We need an entry level. They don't all have to look like Cessnas. They can look like Quicksilvers. They can look like Mini Maxes. They can look like a lot of things as long as people can afford to fly them. But I can tell you this, I know of a lot of people who started in ultralights in the late 70s and early 80s that are flying jets now and other heavy iron, or for that matter, owning Cessnas, Pipers, Beaches, Moonies, what have you. We've got to renew the entry level. Doesn't mean the rest of it goes for naught. All that needs to be reinforced, but you got to start at basics. You got to start with what people can afford, and more important, you got to start with something that a younger generation of potential aviators can get involved with, learn from, enjoy, and go forth. And finally, there is interest out there. A couple of weeks ago, we announced that we're going to be doing a mini guide as a preview to the Sport Plane Resource Guide. Well, let me tell you this. Granted, it's free. I repeat, free. And you can get one by sending an email to sprg-mini@aero-news.net. And we'll send you one when they get done, which is not too long from now. But you would think that we would have gotten hundreds of responses, if not thousands. Folks, we've gotten tens of thousands. Let me repeat that. Tens, as in plural, of thousands. There is interest out there. Granted, freebie book, so forth and so on. But the fact of the matter is that people are taking the time, they are interested, there is definitely an interest in flying if people get guidance, and that's what we hope to present. We'll have more on this and a number of other items later on, but think about that. Let's learn how to do business, let's rebuild the entry level, and more important, let's reinforce what we know to be true. Aviation is fascinating, people like it, people are interested. You just got to give them the guidance to get there.
The AENA staff is hard at work in preparation for its 5th live event coverage of the 57th Annual Aircraft Electronics Association International Convention and Trade Show coming up in less than 50 days in Nashville, Tennessee, this March 12th through the 15th. ANN's editor-in-chief, Jim Campbell, said, quote, "Our coverage of the annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show is a pivotal effort. No other aspect of aviation has boasted the aggressive growth, progress, and innovation as we've seen from the avionics industry." End quote. AEA President Paula Dirks said, quote, "ANN's coverage helps the participating companies introduce these new and innovative products to the general aviation community, and it allows these companies to share their success stories in their own words. ANN welcomes ideas and suggestions from the AEA community for interview topics, product profiles, and story ideas. And we urge companies and product developers who are planning new product releases and other new announcements to contact Jim Campbell at jim@aero-news.net. Well, Monday was Airborne's 200th episode, and we're proud to announce that Airborne will now undergo a schedule upgrade and be seen 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting next week. In addition to a roster of recent Aero-News stories, each of the 3 weekly episodes will offer a special Aero feature. Each Monday, Airborne will spotlight our Aero video of the week. Each Wednesday, a classic Aero-TV episode will be featured from our Aero-TV archives. And every Friday, Jim Campbell's popular editorial series, Barnstorming, which will also continue to be open for outside commentary and opinions. But that's not all. We still have dozens of other exciting ideas for the future. Remember, you can get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories at aero-news.net. And please remember, Airborne is now streamed 3 times weekly and is always online. In the meantime, join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a new edition of Airborne. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.